One, two, one, two, one, two. Let's get it. So, last night, while Kamala Harris was at the town hall talking about the border, right? The goddamn migrants were coming across full force. Okay? While she was talking about the border, the migrants were just caravanning away. I don't know who I'll vote for, but I will break down what happened at this town hall and what the people were facing dealing with these migrants. Let's get it.
What are you making of this surge 2 weeks before Election Day?
Well, we usually see something similar to this every election cycle. I mean, usually it starts quite a bit further out, but usually every time there's an election cycle, the fear of the unknown plus the marketing by the smuggling organizations leads to a pretty good jump in traffic.
So this isn't unique to the Biden administration right now, this specific surge 2 weeks out. You see this every 4 years?
Well, we see surges, and maybe not necessarily 2 weeks out. Usually it starts a little slower and comes on gradually. But one thing we have noticed with the Biden administration is when they come big. And, these are the largest groups I've ever seen in the last 4 years. So
one thing we know about the Biden administration is when they come in large sizes. Pause. Okay? And this is last night. Okay? So, while that's happening, let's get to Kamala Harris with the town hall. Let's break that down.
Benefits and subsidies will you provide them with, and how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual? Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies, and if so, how much money will be allocated?
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this. America's immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed. And it's been broken for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race.
Stop the show. Let's bring it back.
Pay for these benefits and subsidies, and if so, how much money will be allocated?
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this. America's immigration system is broken and
America's immigration system is broken. So we have something out of Miss Kamala. The system is broken. There's only one question that could be had, which would be, what is your deportation plan?
it's to be fixed. And it's been broken for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
What is your deportation plan?
In the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in, and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country.
Okay, Madam President, Vice President. With that being said, the border is broken and the fentanyl, and you've been fighting it. What is your deportation plan? Why won't nobody ask her that?
And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead of fix the problem. You may know there were some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress working with others that came up with a border security bill.
Ma'am, you admitted the border's broken. What is the plan to get rid of the people who is not legally here?
To put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Those border agents are overwhelmed. They need the support. They need the backup. It would have allowed us to have more resources to stem the flow of fentanyl. I don't need to tell this state and people around the country what is happening in terms of the scourge of fentanyl and how it is literally killing Americans. It would have put resources into stemming the flow. It would have given more resources to prosecute, to investigate and prosecute transnational criminal organizations. It would have done a lot of good. Donald Trump got wind of the bill and told them, don't put it forward. He killed the bill because
Ma'am, now that we're here, there, and everywhere else, what is the plan to get rid of these people?
prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. We have to have a secure border, and we have to have a comprehensive pathway for citizenship.
Let's stop right there. A comprehensive pathway to citizenship. Madam Vice President, I would like to ask you this question. How many illegals or how many immigrants, migrants, whatever you want to call it, how many do you think would be enough for you say cut it off? Let me ask you that, Madam Vice President. How many immigrants should be in where you say, okay, that's enough? 50 million, 100 million? Why don't you just say what the number is so everybody can know what you're dealing with? Say, look, I'm looking to get 75 million immigrants in here. So everybody can say, oh, okay, I'm damn sure not voting for you.
And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Why didn't you say that when we was watching TV, watching all these people come across the border? Why did you and Joe Biden never say these words? I know why, but we'll get into that later in the series.
Ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed. That was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't?
So in June, you guys signed the executive order to shut it down, where you're saying, oh, you know, we have the lower border crossings since Trump. We shut it down. Ma'am. So I'm supposed to ignore 30 million people coming in. So that didn't just happen. I don't see stuff in my neighborhood. Look, man, this is crazy.
Your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently.
Ma'am, you have cut the flow of immigration in half. This is a stupid conversation. You're not realizing that you let all of those people in. This is stupid. Cutting it in half is what number? Why are you talking to me like I'm stupid? You cut it down in half to what number? 10 million, 20 million?
Illegal immigration.
But if it was
low.
that easy
On,
with that
finish.
executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem.
Wow. Sounds like a lot of me. Sounds like a rat. So you're going to push it off on Congress. So you have no power, Madam Vice President. But you did all this fentanyl. Oh, God.
Instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. Congress has the authority and the purse. I hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the
Talk your talk, Madam Vice President. You hate to use them DC terms. Talk your talk, ma'am. I ain't mad at you.
checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, we need more judges down there to deal.
Now, you just said something. Let's see what the guy said. Let's see what the border guy says. Since I'm supposed to believe you, let's see what this guy says.
Prepared enough when it hits.
Yeah, hopefully so. What intel do you have on this God Guides Us group in terms of who they are, where they're coming from?
You know, there's not much intel that we have on these groups. To be honest with you, though, we don't pay too much attention to these groups coming across. We see groups like this quite a bit. It's unfortunate that stuff like this has become the norm under this administration, but unfortunately, it has. Large groups of, hundreds crossing at any given time, caravans of 2,000 or 3,000 at a time. I mean, it unfortunately becomes a normal thing.
I know this caravan is expected to, cross and then splinter off into smaller groups and kind of enter at different ports of entry, if you will. Where are you expecting the most crossings to occur? Are you locating, a specific city or area?
Right now, obviously in Texas, the hot spot would be Eagle Pass. One would think California is the busiest, but the closest straight line distance would be the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. So our guess is between Rio Grande Valley and maybe Eagle Pass area.
The Border Patrol Council has obviously endorsed Trump. If he were to win on November 5th, take office come January, how long would it take for him to undo everything that the Biden administration undid? It seems like realistically that would take a long time to get chaos back in check.
I think just by name recognition, when he took office last time, things slowed down immediately because people knew that he was serious about what was happening, and the effects were almost immediate. This may take a little longer because it is in a lot worse shape than what he inherited last time, but I wouldn't imagine it would take all too long to start feeling the effects of some of these policies that are going to get put back in place.
So he said it wouldn't take too long, but Kamala, I'm trying to find out who to vote for. She's kind of lying.
Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims.
He did not say that. That man from the border said, hey, this administration is ridiculous. We need Trump in there. He can sign stuff and it'll stop quick. So I don't know.
More personnel down there to deal with processing. But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in terms of dedicating the resources to actually fixing the problem. We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's an outright lie. This is still happening today.
Chris, I know that DHS reports that unlawful crossings last month fell to 54,000 migrants. That's the lowest since 2020. Is some progress being made?
Well, the numbers have shifted, and DHS is kind of hiding the numbers. And when I say that, I mean, it used to be Border Patrol numbers were the high mark, and the numbers coming across the bridge with the customs guys were the low end. Now the numbers seem to have flip-flopped. However, DHS is disguising those parole numbers. They're letting people in under this misused parole system, and they're not counting those numbers towards the actual amount of illegal crossings. So
October 20th, 2024. Okay? So what is Kamala Harris talking about? I don't know who I'm going to vote for yet, but this is still outright crazy. That she's just going to lie like that, and this guy's saying a whole different story. He's there.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution, and that requires bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it on both sides of the aisle. And it's time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside. We know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall.
Whoa, ma'am. He just said you were going to put a wall up. Look, this is crazy.
More than 50 times you called it stupid, Compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity
Anderson Cooper throwing shots. Let's go, Anderson Cooper.
project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're...
Ma'am. You just signed a bill with Congress, $650 million, that said if you're elected, you're gonna buy a wall. That's part of the agreement that y'all have for your presidency. That right there sounds weird as hell. Like she's almost in already. Wow.
Called it stupid.
Put the partisan approach to this aside, we know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border.
Ma'am, he just said to you that you will be the one that's getting it. Y'all signed a deal where if you become president, 650 will go to the wall. The Republicans signed the deal. You're talking about, let's talk about Donald Trump. Like I told y'all, Kamala Harris is the most powerful woman in the world.
Well, so remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
But you agreed to a $650 million deal that will help to continue that wall. That's what Anderson Cooper knows.
Are higher than they're letting on. They are a little bit lower than, say 3 or 4 months ago, but better than bad is not necessarily good.
Yeah, fair point. Well, we're going to stay on top of this caravan every day at News Nation. Please keep us posted as this God Guides Us group continues to move. Thanks for watching, everybody.
A new caravan of Mexicans are running through while Kamala was doing her town hall.
Are afraid of asylum changes under a new president come January, worried that this is their last chance to get into the country. I want to now bring in Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council, Chris Cabrera. Chris, thank you so much for your time. What are you making of this surge 2 weeks before Election Day?
Well, we usually see something similar to this every election cycle. I mean, usually it starts quite a bit further out, but usually every time there's an election cycle, the fear of the unknown plus the marketing by the smuggling organizations leads to a pretty good jump in traffic.
So this isn't unique to the Biden administration right now, this specific surge 2 weeks out. You see this every 4 years?
Well, we see surges, and maybe not necessarily 2 weeks out. Usually it starts a little slower and comes on gradually. But one thing we have noticed with the Biden administration is when they come big. And, these are the largest groups I've ever seen.
Largest groups this man's ever seen.
Pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it.
Ma'am, you didn't see all of those people coming through the last 2 years on TV, 2020, 60 Minutes. You didn't see that? Why you didn't say that all those years? That's crazy. Now that that's happened, what is your deportation plan? The cat has been let out the bag. Anderson Cooper said, hey, they signed $650 million when you become president to continue putting up that wall.
People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why?
Ma'am, what the fuck? Excuse my language. What are you talking about? Fix what? What is your deportation plan? That's how we want to fix it.
Is there any ideological perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
Your iPhone.
There you have it.